she come. The reality comes. Shades on. She's the real deal. Here she comes. The reality comes. Shades on. Knowledge, wisdom.
Well. Can you hear me, guest?
Yes.
All right. Well, you all, I just want to say, first of all, thank you to this sister right here. She has been following my son's story for quite some time. And I wasn't going to do a show today because many of you may not know, but my son was murdered on yesterday in 2017. And it's a very trying time for me to get up. And also this week, first week of November, my only living son was given a life sentence on November the 2nd of 2021. So this is just a very difficult time of year and month for me as a mother who believes in doing what is right and working with her children. But needless to say, Reggie Ruffin may join us with Just Cause Coalition soon. But if he doesn't, we can handle it because she has a very, very interesting case. And you all, she mailed me some information regarding her brother's case. And I work at the radio station. Here's how we came into contact. I work at the radio station and I do a segment entitled Praise Beyond the Walls or Praise Behind the Walls. Praise. So in this moment, I give people an opportunity that have loved ones who are incarcerated the chance to call in and allow their loved ones just to hear their voice. Because myself, I wouldn't know how hard. Well, this is hard because it's awful. Because when you are not in this situation, you don't understand the impact that it has on family members, especially those who are truly loved by their loved ones. So nonetheless, she called in one Sunday and she was so bubbly. I was like, oh, what a welcome call. And the love that she was showing and expressing, not necessarily showing, but sometimes you can see people through their emotions, the words, the verbiage, the envision that I got of her when she was speaking about her brother was just like, oh my goodness, this man must not be as bad as whatever he's there for. I didn't know what he was there for at the time, but week after week, she would always call. And it got to the point to where I started looking forward to her call. If she didn't call, I'm looking like, okay, where is Sister Carolyn? Hey. She normally calls and give her shout outs to her loved ones. And one time she didn't call, and when she finally did call, I said, hey, I'm going to need your personal phone number. So that way, if you don't call, I can call and check on you. Because when someone is consistent with showing they love and they do things, then you have to take into consideration in today's time, that says a lot about a person's character. And if they fall out of character, me being someone that says that she's someone I look forward to hearing from, it's only my human duty to call her and find out what's going on. Hey, why you ain't call? And one time she didn't call, and guess who was on? Sister Carolyn. You all right over there? What had happened? And this particular time, y'all, and I'm giving you this backdrop so you can see, we just didn't just up and start talking about this, and we just didn't up and just meet or what have you. This particular time when I called, something had happened. She had hurt her knee and had to go to the doctor and get her knee taken care of. And it's been a grueling process for her. So me getting her number and calling, I hope it lifted your spirit. Did it lift your spirit just when I called to find out if he was okay?
Yes.
All right, y'all. See, it lifted us. Yay. Okay, so nonetheless, let's get into the show here. The show's topic is, let me make sure, because I wasn't gonna do a show, but when this sister reached out to me, I was like, okay, let me do something. I gotta do something. I just can't not do something. So the show topic today is Dallas under fire. We want answers.
Yes.
We want answers. And let me say this quickly. The flyer, it has let me put it up here. Y'all, I'm poor at this, so y'all forgive me. But when you are limited in your funding, you have to do it the best way you know how. And I think I do pretty good, really, to
Yes, you
consider
do.
considering the fact that all of this was learned on my own. This is the flyer. Dallas under fire. And you see those people down there at the bottom? Friendship West, Bradrick J. Collins, attorney Bradrick Collins, um, the reality coach me. Let's see who else. Collective activism and just cause. And there were many people out there for this movement. And the reason why they're on this flyer is because we want answers. Friendship West, their social justice ministry team, has Pastor Daniel Ayers has taken the liberty to read over my son's case. And Friendship West has been a big proponent of social justice and pointing out the disparities in the judicial process in the Dallas area. So when Pastor Ayers received my son's actual transcripts, I didn't send her a typed up letter. I sent her the actual court stamped records from Dallas County. So she wasn't getting secondhand information. She got actual trial information, and she read through that, and she had a lot of questions concerning the conviction. And she has seen this time and time again in Dallas County, where the convictions either are just unexplainable according to our Constitution, the bonds are set so high that one cannot make it. um, People are just wrongfully convicted. And she saw all three of these in the paperwork that she read concerning my son. But the one thing that stood out the most to her in the motion for new trial was the fact that DNA evidence was not introduced to the jurors. The actual DNA evidence, there were two types of DNA. There was a buccal swab and a penile swab. Well, the buccal swab is with the mouth, but the penile swab is more invasive because they actually have to insert a Q-tip into what, we won't get into that, but it's very invasive, and DNA stays with the man for up to 72 hours. And Mr. Collins, being the great appellate attorney that he is, discovered that that evidence was presented to Dallas County by their own investigator, which they hired, Tanya Sylvan, which is Mr. Collins seems to think she's the best investigator that Dallas has. And when I say when people do stuff that's meant for evil, God will turn it to good.
Yes,
They
he
wasn't
will.
intending to give me such a great private investigator, Sister Carolyn. That was oops on them. But nonetheless, she did a thorough job, and her notes were so accurate that even down to statements from police officers that was there, she had all of that in there that the jurors never heard the entire time. It was terrible. And the reason why Sister Carolyn is here, and I want to go back, I just wanted to point those things out about the case. Now, see, you all, these are actual transcripts of her brother's case. And I too am one that likes to read and get information for myself, because that's just the way it needs to be done. So nonetheless, I read some. Okay, now with Draylen's case, DNA was not presented, and they labeled him a serial rapist. Two of the people didn't come to court, and then the one that did come, DNA excludes him. Does that sound familiar?
Yes, it does.
Can
Definitely.
you just share with the viewers why that sounds a little familiar to you?
Because my brother was convicted of a crime that he didn't do. They gave him 75 years.
75
75 years.
years. And what crime was your brother convicted of?
He was convicted of sexual assault.
Was it aggravated?
Yes.
Okay, so how did they get to an aggravation? How did they get to being aggravated?
Well, they had did the swab and stuff, and they did the DNA, and the DNA came back that it wasn't his; it was someone else's. But they still gave him 75 years. And
Oh,
when he first went to court in 2011, he had a court-appointed attorney, in which that attorney didn't represent all the information in during the time. So they just gave him 75 years, and he's done 13 already out of that 75.
okay, so you're saying that DNA evidence proved was there DNA evidence to prove that it was not him?
Yes,
So there were actual clerk's records saying that DNA excluded him.
yes.
Okay, now how did they aggravate his case?
That they took they took him and they brought him back on a bench warrant. So they appointed him a new attorney, and then there was a new judge in the case as well. So the second court-appointed attorney, he subpoenaed the first court-appointed attorney, which he came to court, and he did say that he didn't bring all the evidence forward like he should have, and he didn't represent Mr. Gaston in the way that he should have been represented.
So do you all have this on record anywhere?
The courts do.
They have this that they have the attorney actually saying that he didn't represent your brother correctly.
Yes.
Wow. So how did that make you feel? I'm sorry, I'm moving this. I know. How did that make you
It,
feel?
it made me feel real sad to know that my brother is innocent, but yet he still got 75 years for something that he didn't do.
And that's along with DNA evidence.
Yes.
So I'm looking at um okay, let me read what this actual let me give me some glasses here because getting younger is really hard on me. I didn't I didn't realize that this handwriting was so small, but I don't want to have to get up. I thought I could reach him, but I can't. But anyway, this is actually, see that says file. Can y'all see that? Let me. June 10th. June, what is that? June 10th? It's filed June 10th. Let's see. June 3rd. I don't know how they I don't even know. I know it's 1009 June. Okay. This looks like it's June 10th. So it was filed a year prior to this. Okay. So he was in court. How long did he sit in jail before he got a court date?
He sat in there for about almost 3 to 6 months.
So y'all, this is June 10th. He was convicted in 2011, right?
Yes.
2010, he was in court. Okay. So this says unlawfully. Let me see. Okay. So this says something about I don't understand how they do this. It says aggravated sex, mouth, something. Do you understand what they meant by that? You were there.
Okay, say it
Aggravated,
again. I'm sorry.
aggravated sex, mouth, DW third.
I don't know what that is.
Well, that's what's on his conviction, his charge.
And then the thing about it, that's when um the woman that he was accused of raping, and when she got on the stand and they asked her to point him out, and she pointed him as the man not being that was said that he done.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You mean to tell me the woman got on the stand and said, what now?
She got on the stand and said, and they asked her, was the man who raped her in the court, and she said no.
Okay, so this is not, this can't, y'all. I put these shades back on because this is some dark truth you may not want to see, but you're gonna hear it. So you mean to tell me that this wasn't just some random person. This was the actual victim of rape
Yes,
who got on the stand and said, when she was asked, is the person that raped her in the courtroom, she said no to it being your brother.
yes.
So what did how okay? What did the jurors say? Did you look at their reactions when that happened?
Yes, I was looking at him, but it seemed like apparently they mind were already made up about my brother and what he was accused of.
Okay, did they paint a heinous picture of him?
Yes.
Okay, now you all, I want y'all to know this is how they do. When they want you and you're a juror like me, clueless, not accustomed to being in a courtroom setting, and when they paint these pictures, it makes it so vivid to give you an image of a vivid image of someone who you don't even know. It could have been something where your brother could have been with another person, and this is just an example, not in this case, but hypothetically speaking, say for instance I'm out with someone and we get into a fight and I take my money back from her that she took from me, I can get charged with robbery. That's simple. Because it will
Hmm.
become a word of he say, she say, or
She
she
said.
say, she say.
Hmm.
And that's what happens. And then once you get that on your record, the jurors don't hear the details of that factor. They just hear I got a robbery charge. And then
That's it.
here I come in with an assault charge. Well, if she'll rob somebody, why wouldn't she do that? So they paint these pictures so vivid until it's hard for you as an individual who just does not compute that type of stuff in your mind. You're just not criminal minded, so you don't compute that in your mind. So once you're sitting there and you hear these people, and let me tell you, these prosecutors, they some good actors and actresses. They
Yes,
know
they
how to
are.
do it. And let me tell you how I know that they know how to do it, because when I was at Draylen's trial, they actually had students who were in law school in the trial taking notes. I could
What?
not, I, I, I put it on everything I love. I was like, why are all these people here? And I knew they wasn't there for my son because they was all white. Was not one black. And I'm telling you, my son had a chaplain there. I was there, and we had some other people on our side that were there, and we were all just in awe, like, what are they doing? They
Right.
were actually taking notes on how to, I guess, do a trial. Well, now I guess that's normal procedures, but in this case, it kind of made me a little leery because I was listening to the way that the evidence was being presented and the way things were being done. It did not seem like a balanced trial setting. And what I mean by that is the prosecutor did most of the talking. And most of the time, people start out as prosecutors before they become a lawyer on their own, unless they come into a family firm or a firm that has already decided to hire them before they get out of school.
Okay.
So she kept doing all the talking, and I noticed that she would always turn in that direction over that way. So it was like, that's all I can say. It was unusual, and it made alarm bells go off. And here's the thing: most of the time, people who are convicted of these type crimes or put in these type situations, they are usually financially at a financial disadvantage. They don't have their family is supportive, but there's only so long that a family can support one because it takes a long time. They drag it out, and people have to go to work. So normally in these particular type cases, they usually do get the conviction to stick, because if you don't get the motion for new trial within 30 days done, which a lot of people do not know to do that. I'm sure your brother didn't know to do that. The
Right.
evidence in which you wish to preserve on the appeal process, it's on the direct appeal process, it's going to be null and void. Also, getting the motion in, when you get the motion in, you have to get the new trial on the record. That means you have to go before a jury, just like before a judge, before a jury, just like you do a trial. You don't necessarily have to be before a jury, but you got to go before a judge, which is the appellate judges, which is 3 judges, and get it on the record. And there you can question the defense attorneys, the prosecutors, things that you have questions about. You can get that, and that makes it more solid. And like I said before, this is not just about Draylon Patterson. This is about a lot of Draylon Pattersons. This is about your brother. This is about someone else's brother, uncle.
Yes.
I am standing here. The reality coach is a representative for those who don't have a mother, sister, cousin, friend, or relative like me. I'm giving you what I have learned, because this cannot continue to go on. This is why Friendship West Social Justice Ministry is involved, because of the disparities in this case. And this is not the first time that they've seen this. They see it time and time again. And let me tell you, to have them look at the case is such a blessing, because they are overwhelmed with countless of cases, not just in the aggravated assault area, but just wrongful convictions, period. And then social disparities. Why are so many Black people being convicted of things that are so obviously, overwhelmingly, egregiously
Yes, it
wrong?
is. Yes, it is. I hear it
So
all the time.
yes, and then you call into the station quite a bit, and the unit kind of knows our voices. They actually look forward to hearing us, because we give them somewhat of some hope.
Yes, we
And let
do.
me tell you, y'all, the messages that we get, that she gets back from her brother, about the amount of men who are saying, can you help? Can you help? Can you help?
Yes.
They want to send their paperwork. Y'all, I want to help so many, but I can't do it all. And the reason why I'm helping, well, not necessarily helping, but I'm mentioning you and your brother's case is because y'all, she's putting in the work.
Yes, I
She's
am.
putting in the work. Her brother told her about the reality coach hour, the show that's going on, and asked her to call in. They're doing their work. He's doing his work from behind the walls.
Yes, he is. He's
And
determined.
what did he do? He told you to get in contact with that
The
host
reality coach.
because she's giving you an opportunity to reach out to us, and then she's willing to share, to listen, to help, whatever I can do.
Yes. And we
And
thank you.
well, I honored. Um, lo and behold, you do call me. And when I hear, and then and you all, I hadn't told them about my son's case. I hadn't mentioned a word because it was not about him at that point in given time. It was about those that I was there trying to help. Did you know about my son's case in the beginning?
No.
I didn't mention it because it was not about him. It was about your brother at that point in time. And when she began to tell me her brother's situation, it was some dark truth that I did not want to see, but I had to hear it. And now I'm looking at it and hearing it. And let me tell you what I do know. Now, people think when there are bad people in prison, yes, there are, and they need to be there, rightfully so. But when I hear her brother's voice, the joy that he still displays and the encouragement that he's given to others,
Yes. Definitely. Definitely every day, all day. He trusts God. He trusts in God's timing. He trusts God.
it brings tears almost to my eyes to sit there and knowing you're wrongly convicted, but yet you still find a way
Yes, yes,
to
he
be a
does.
lamp to
He's a
somebody's
fighter.
feet.
He's a fighter. He's
And,
fighting for his freedom.
and each time when you would call in, you would close, and you too, it's not just about your brother.
No,
I would
it's
hear
not.
you say, I love you all, and there's nothing
Absolutely.
you can do about it.
Nothing at all.
And then you say, God's delay is not God's denial. Did I get it right?
That's right. You said it perfectly. You sure did. And I always say no doesn't mean never. It just means not right now. Yes,
And
ma'am.
that touched me because I see where your brother gets that heart from. And the determination that you all show in trying to maintain somewhat of a sense of humanism is heart touching. But
Yes,
let
it
me get,
is.
because see, I get emotional, and y'all know this is the emotional time for me because like I said, this month here is a lot. Okay,
And
go ahead.
and the thing is, that's when I talk to him, and we talk about God as our subject, main subject. And he said, Carolyn, I am fighting for my freedom. I am trusting God for my freedom. And I know what God can do. He can do all things. But I'm just not sitting here not doing anything. I'm in the law library. I'm fighting. I'm reading. I'm writing. I'm sending out letters. I'm reaching out to people every day, all day. I'm fighting because I'm innocent. And God knows that I am. And He encourages me. We encourage each other because I get emotional too. But you know one thing? God got His hand on it. He got His hand in it.
And you know, and let me tell you now, I just came to the station about 2 years ago. And how long had you been telling your brother trust God? How long have y'all been saying this and believing in God?
Day one. In spite of day one.
Okay, and did you ever think that you would meet someone that would actually take the time out?
I prayed. And I prayed and I knew, although I couldn't see it, but I know who I serve. And I know what he can do. Because I've seen him at work. I've
Mm,
seen his work.
mm.
I'm a
And that's
living witness.
and that's what and that's what I was telling people. When you have faith, it brings favor.
Yes, it
And
does.
you have to turn your back to fear. Faith and fear have no alignment whatsoever. If you do try to align them, you're going to get out of line
Yes, right.
and have to be recalibrated. And when you have to be recalibrated, it takes too hard. It takes too much time. You got to pump. It's just like pumping brakes. You got to pump them brakes until it's just too much work for me. Needless to say, I am going to read the actual transcript from your brother's trial. And I just want, because I want the public to see what Dallas County does. And they are real good at this. And these, and let me tell you, now, you know what's so strange about all of this? Mr. Collins pointed this out. This font right here, y'all, it's an old font. I don't even know if they got it anymore. But nonetheless, this is some of the same fonts in Draylen's paperwork. Anyway, let me read this. Excuse me. This is actually Mr. Witherspoon. This is Mr. Witherspoon, and I'm assuming, do you know who Mr. Witherspoon was?
Mr. Witherspoon, that was the first court-appointed attorney, I think.
Okay, you're right. You're absolutely right. It says, now this is Mr. Witherspoon questioning. Wait a minute. This is okay. Who was Miss Bennett?
Bennett, I want to say she. I say it again. Who was Miss Bennett?
Miss Bennett. I think, is she the prosecutor?
The prosecutor for the other side. Yes.
Okay, that because it looks like that's what she is on here, the prosecutor. Yes. Okay, so Miss Bennett calls to the stand. Miss Bennett, and I'm reading exactly what it says. And if you don't believe me, you can go pull it up. It's open records. It's court records. Miss Bennett, yes, state calls Joyce Salanda.
Yeah, it's something like this. It's kind of hard to pronounce.
Okay. Whereupon Joyce Salata, having been first duly cautioned and sworn, testifies as follows. Direct examination. That means it wasn't no side person, wasn't no other person, wasn't no second person. This is direct examination by Miss Bennett, which was the prosecutor in this case, talking to the victim. Question. Okay, I'm not going to exactly have you introduce yourself because that's not your true name, but for purpose of this case, your name is Joyce Salanda. Is that right? Now, this is what they call a pseudonym. Now, let me tell you what they did in Draylen's case. In Draylen's case, they tried to say that Mr. Collins used the actual victim's real name. He never did. He used a pseudonym. The pseudonym name was Alicia Holmes. He never gave any other name other than Alicia Holmes, other than the people that was on the stand that was there in court. So anyway, it's a pseudonym. Okay. Okay, and then this here, the court record was done by Sharina Fowler. And you can her number. So it's act. This is real. This is real, y'all. I ain't reading something that's made up. So anyway, then it says, call me back. Right. So that's saying who she is. Okay, now these papers are little. I thought I had them in order. I don't know what happened. Guess they fell apart because I was so excited to have somebody proving something that I could see. Anyway,
Exactly.
okay. Question. In fact, did the detective have you come? Okay, this is what happened. She was called back the next Monday and told me that it was interesting that I should call him at the time because they had a suspect. She had called the police to see if they had someone. So this was a true victim of rape because she was interested in what was going on with her case. So question. In fact, this again is the prosecutor for the state. And remember, her name is Miss Bennett. Miss Bennett asked the question, in fact, did the detective have you come to the station or did he come to you to look at a lineup? Answer, I went there. Question, you went to the station. Answer, I went to the station. Question, and you were shown a photograph of the lineup. Yes. And you were not able to identify. No. I couldn't really identify him from the pictures. Now, this is the victim.
Right.
Okay, sitting here in the courtroom and looking around, do you see the person or do you know? No. I don't know. You don't know? No. But the person sitting over there at the defense table, now this is prompting the witness. The person sitting at the defense table, do you know that man? Do you know either one of those men? The victim says what?
No.
No, exactly. Did either one of those men ever have permission to go to your home? There's nothing after that page, but you can pull it up. Okay, so I guess these paperwork, I don't know how they do this, but the paperwork is giving a full description of what the person had on. Was he wearing a warm-up suit? She said yes. You said that he had said, I believe you testified that he had said that he had, what did she say he had done to her that you can recall? Okay, this is someone else giving a testimony. It looks like she said, she was like, he had broken in or whatever. Okay, do you remember that person? Was there another person there testifying on the stand to corroborate what happened? Or it's been so long ago?
It's been so long ago. I don't remember.
Okay. Well, I can't really, because some of the paperwork, he put in the key factors, but nonetheless, the main fact is that the victim said no.
Yes.
And the jurors heard that?
Yes.
And they did nothing?
Nothing.
But give him 75 years.
Yes.
Now, let me
75 years.
ask you this. In my son's case, they kept telling us if he doesn't take a plea deal, we're going to give him life. It was like they were trying to make him take a plea deal. Does that sound familiar?
Yes, it does.
And your brother refused to take a plea deal?
Yes, he did.
And what did they tell him if he didn't take a plea deal? What was going to be the outcome?
That he was going to be convicted and he was going to have to serve 75 years.
Okay, now 75 years mean he got to do at least 35, 40 years, right?
Yes.
Excuse me. Okay, so now let me explain to y'all what they did to my son, which was truly heinous. They give your brother an opportunity to not have to be on paper for the rest of his life. Now, my son's sentence still requires him to serve at least 30 years. But once he gets out, he will not ever not have to report. He will be a forever reporter until he leaves this earth. That's how heinous and how evil Dallas County was with my son. A man that ain't never been into no kind of trouble. That's something you do to somebody that's got prior convictions, that's got a track record of being violent. This man ain't even been violent. Matter of fact, you labeled him serial and ain't nobody else showed up but one person, and she ain't even the one. She's not someone that he had been with. Period. Dallas County. And they give your brother 75 years. And okay, what was the nationality of this individual?
I can't hear you.
What was the nationality of the woman?
She was white.
White. Okay, so the nationality of the one my son alleged to have raped, and now we'll say alleged in your brother's case because there's proof that says that he didn't do it. Alleged to be white, but they gave these brothers all this time. And both brothers are innocent.
Yes, they are.
Wow. Okay, now here's to further corroborate what you're stating. In this trial, the victim, in her description, the question is, in the description that the victim gave you, did she tell you that her assailant had gold teeth? Yes. In all of the photographs in the course of your investigation, have you ever known Mr. Gasson to have any gold teeth?
My brother don't have any gold teeth.
No. Now, this is the lead investigator giving this testimony. As lead investigator, it is your job to collect all of the evidence and pull it all together to make a decision. Is that correct? Yes. You have done that in this case. Is that correct? Investigator says, as far as I know, and to the best of my abilities. With the exception of her statement, do you have any other evidence that the victim was sexually assaulted? Yes. And what was that? The biological evidence that was obtained and discovered at the lab. There was biological evidence found. That's the end of that page. I wish I had page 187, but that's what. And y'all, the reason why they do it this way, because the appeal courts don't have time to read a whole case, so they get to the facts. And the fact of the matter is, they're trying to prove that the investigator said, out of all the time that she did all the investigating to the best of her ability, she never saw Mr. Gatson with gold teeth. But the victim says that the person who raped her had gold teeth. And Mr. Gatson never had gold teeth. Now, then on top of all of that, the victim says she's never even seen him before. So that's two things that totally says it. And then DNA. Was there any DNA found of your brothers? How did they go about saying that they found DNA?
They went by saying that they found that they said that he was in the house, and they said he found his fingerprints on a drink can, and he stated to them that yes, he had a drink, and of course his fingerprints was going to be on there. But then that's the only thing that concluded him to be in the house, because he was there visiting someone that stayed there with her, like a boarder that rent a room, and he would go over there sometimes, and they would hang out and stuff like that. And that particular day, he had went over there, and they were just sitting back, talking and stuff like that. So that's why how they found the fingerprints on the bottle.
So was this the house of the actual victim?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what they did in Draylen's case. They said touch DNA. Now your brother had a can and he was drinking, so his fingerprints was on the can.
Yeah, correct.
With Draylen, they said touch DNA. Now, I don't know how you can touch a gun, have touch DNA on a trigger, and don't have no fingerprints nowhere else. It don't even make good book sense, good common sense, and therefore it's nonsense. How are you going to have touch DNA on a trigger? Now, he's raping this woman, and on the stand, this victim says that whoever raped her, well, she said Draylen raped her and had the gun to her head the entire time. And that's how they got touch DNA. But my thing is, I don't know how, maybe it takes a lot to pull a trigger or something. I don't know, because I don't have a gun and I don't fool with guns. But to pull a trigger, I mean, you getting excited or whatever, and your body does things when you get excited. I don't know if that trigger if your finger gonna be just touching that at that point and not go off. I'm not sure, because I don't have a gun, but it just seems to me, in order to keep it from going off, you had to have some fingerprints on the gun. But nonetheless, and they didn't even find the gun on him. It was a gun planted underneath the back of a tire. And they said that because he was in the vicinity of the gun, that's how they knew it was his. Sound like the can incident. Your brother had already said that there was a can there. Okay, so these items, including the knit cap, the knife, and the cans, those were then submitted for further DNA testing. Is that right? That is correct. And are you not the person to testify about the DNA testing? Is that right? No, I am not. A different analyst in our laboratory performed that test. And the DNA analysis who did the DNA testing on this is sitting back there to testify next. Is that right? That is correct. So as far as any other testing that you did on these items, was there anything else? No, I did not do any other testing. I'll pass the witness. Court cross-examine. Here's how we do it. Court cross-examining. I'll pass the witness. Now these are court-appointed attorneys. Now that's a familiar statement. I'll pass the witness. You're sitting here. You don't question people that did the DNA testing. You pass the witness. That's exactly what happened in Draylen's case with the court-appointed attorney. When it was his turn to ask the accused, alleged expert, pass the witness. And here it is, the same statement in the same font, pass the witness. How are you going to pass the witness and you got your client is over being accused of rape? Something so serious is going to give your client 75 years or life. And you pass the witness? That's ineffective, if nothing else.
Yes, I never understood that. I was just blown away.
The court even gave him a chance. The court said cross-examination, and this sounds familiar too. No questions, and that's how loud they say it. No questions. The court made the witness be permanently excused. No objection. The prosecutor, the court-appointed attorney. No objection. You're permanently excused. Permanently excused. Now, he didn't ask her not one question. Now, that's just insanity at its finest.
Yes,
And
it
you just
is.
got up here and testified that this man did this and did that. That he had this print and all of that. Okay, now, here's the DNA. At the time of her analysis, question, there was no DNA profile on that. Is that correct? That's correct. There's a difference, or is there a difference in obtaining? Well, let me rephrase that question. How many different sources do you get DNA from? Answer, I'm sorry, I don't understand the question. Well, in reference to the red stain from the cap, you said there was some sperm cell friction. Is that correct? Yes. One of the sample stains from the cap, I did obtain a sperm cell fraction, and that could not have originated from Kenneth Gasson. Is that correct? That's correct. Y'all, this just burns me up. This just burns me all the way up. You have the nerve to say these are the people that did this. These are official court records.
It's just sad how they just railroad them.
Okay, so then she turns around and then they turn around and ask the question. Then let me ask you this: when DNA is positive on a source, how long will that DNA stay there? DNA can remain on an item for a very long time. It depends on what conditions the particular item went through before it was collected. If it was preserved in the optimal conditions, DNA can stay on the item for many years. There is no way, based on your testing, to determine what when the DNA was placed on the item that you're testing. Is that correct? That's correct. And you can't tell the other, the DNA that was placed on the knife was placed at the same time as the DNA that was found on the beer can. Is that correct? No, sir, I'm not able to tell. So your brother, did he have a pocket knife or something?
Not that I'm aware of. He didn't have a pocket knife.
Okay, so let's read. When you refer to the unknown male and the unknown female in your testing, you found items that had genetic. I mean, I may not be saying this right. You found items that had characteristics from what you qualified as an unknown female and an unknown male. Is that correct? Yes. These DNA profiles did not match any of the standards submitted in this case. So I labeled them, as for the report purposes, labeled them as unknown female and unknown male. Y'all, come on now.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Come on, Dallas County. Y'all can't keep getting away with this. This don't even make good bad book sense. Even even someone that don't have any clue about the law, no, this ain't right. Let me read on. And in those cases, that would mean that there would have to be another individual besides Mr. Gasson and Miss Saldana. Is that correct? Yes, that is correct. Now, this is the DNA expert.
Yes.
Are you familiar with the CODIS system? Yes. Oh, there they go with that CODIS system. Now, they said they found my son in CODIS, but yet you ain't hear nothing else about it. Ain't heard nothing about it at the trial, but all over the news, they kept saying CODIS, CODIS, CODIS. They lie. And the news needs to do better investigative reporting before they go to reporting stuff.
Yes, they do.
Yes. She asked, are you familiar with CODIS? Yes. Can you explain to the members of the Justice CODIS system? CODIS is an acronym that stands for Combined. Well, it stops there because that's unnecessary, because they don't need to hear all that. He got in what they wanted, what needed to be said. an unknown female, and unknown male. So that means Kenneth Gatson, like they said, Kenneth Gatson could not be. Where is that at? Okay, it says, and in those cases, that would mean that there would have to be another individual besides Mr. Gasson and Miss Sadana in this. Is this correct? Yes, that's correct. That's all they wanted to know. It ain't your brother. Why is he serving 75 years in prison? Y'all, come on, Dallas County black folks. Y'all better wake up. Now, this happened to her brother in 2011, well, 2010. And here it is, 2023, well, 2019. They still doing the same thing. My son is sitting there wrongfully convicted, and DNA clears him. This man ain't even, the witness even said it ain't even him. And then the DNA says it's not him. Come on, Dallas. And this man's been serving since 2011. Well, since before then, because when he got arrested. Yes. 2010. Horrible. And the only DNA showed up to in the mouth of Miss Saldana was her DNA. Is that correct? This can't be real. Let me see. This can't be real. Carolyn, this cannot be real.
Yep, it is.
Yes, that is correct. The sheet that was taken, the stain from the sheet on the bed, 1T1, did not contain any DNA from Kenneth Gasson. Is that correct? He was excluded from this particular DNA profile. The only DNA profile obtained from the single was from the single female that I referred to as unknown female. Baby, I know. I'm so sorry. This is now he did get up and do something, Mr. Witherspoon. He tried to prove your brother's innocent. Okay, Miss Bennett, redirect by Miss Bennett. Well, the question. Well, a stain from the fitted sheet sample 12T2. If that came from the house of a person and had Brenda, it had the complainant Joyce Saldana DNA on it. Would that be expected if there's a bed that a person has perhaps slept on, that their DNA might be there? Yes. If it was known, yes. If it was known. If it was known to be her bed and her bedding, I would expect to obtain her DNA profile on the particular sample. As far as the defense is asking about, well, a couple of things defense asks you about, well, he state has rested its case in chief. What says defense? Your Honor, ladies and, oh, well, this is something else. This is going on to, this is I don't even know what to say.
I'm definitely lost for words. And, and every day when I talk to him, he tells me, he said, Carol, I'm innocent, and God knows I'm innocent. That's why I fight like I do. Because God gonna put it on somebody's mind to take my case from me.
And then this is how, now Mr. Collins said, this is how they turn in paperwork. Paperwork is unsigned, have done. It ain't even dated. This is official work. And this is what Dallas is letting go through to convict people and give them life sentences. Come on, Dallas County. We want some answers. Enough is enough. Y'all, let me, Sister Carolyn, there's so much more to this. It's unbelievable. Who's the district attorney at this point in time? Do you know?
No. The DA.
I'm so sorry, but I got to get off of here. But I will give you a call to see what I can continue to do with this fight because it's too familiar. Thank you.
Well, we thank you. No, we thank you. And we thank
Blessings, my
everybody else
sister.
that's involved and looking into this and getting something done about this. We thank y'all. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
y'all for all that y'all do.
Bless you. Well, let me close this show out real quick.
Bless you too. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
There she go, there she go. The reality leaving comes. Truth, knowledge, wisdom. Shades on. There she go, there she go. The reality leaving comes. Truth, knowledge, wisdom.